Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee and this is Randy, and we are at Frederick County Animal Control on Rosemont Avenue with some adoptable pets available for you if you live in Frederick, or actually we expect our pets to find a good home anywhere, so if you live outside the area, thank you for joining us. We are going to bring you some adoptable pets today that you can either consider for your own family or share with your friends. And our first guest is Milo. And Milo is a 7-month-old Retriever Shepherd mix, as I'm sure you can plainly see. He is a beautiful, wonderful puppy, has lots of energy, but he has some of the best traits of a Shepherd and a Retriever mixed together, and is going to make somebody a really great companion. Of course, since he's young, we're going to take 4 applications and find the best match because he's a big boy and he doesn't know everything yet. He certainly does sit when you ask him to, and gives his paw, and he'll lie down with encouragement. He is treat motivated, so he's probably going to be easy to train. But as with all puppies, we want to be careful about someone knowing the commitment that they're in for, because of course puppies for the first 6 months are a lot of work. So you have to be ready, and then he'll turn into Lassie if you put in that work. So if you have been thinking about getting a puppy, consider coming to the shelter and talking to us about what you imagine doing with your dog, because that will help us help you pick the right one. If you picture watching some movies and reading books and having the dog lie at your feet, well then Milo's not going to be the right match for you. If you picture some camping and outings in town and maybe an obedience class, then Milo would make a great match for you. So if you are thinking of getting a pet, please think about this shelter first. What's the matter, Milo? And then we'll help you do it. Our next guest is Jasmine. And Jasmine is probably part hound, like maybe greyhound or something like that, and part terrier, or even a little bit of pit bull in her. She is a lovely little dog, and we found out this morning as we brought her in for the TV show, she's afraid of our shiny floors. So it's possible that she primarily lived outside and is not used to tile and glossiness of the floor. So that is common when you adopt a secondhand dog, that you don't always know the things they have been exposed to and things they haven't been exposed to. And a lot of times we get caught up saying that it's all in how a dog is raised, how they turn out. And that's not true at all. There are many dogs that are mistreated that turn into wonderful, fabulous pets. And as you probably know, there are many dogs that are purposely bred, raised by experts, placed in the most suitable home, given impeccable training, and they still end up with issues. So they're no different from us. How you are raised certainly can help you be all you can be, but it is not the be-all and end-all of making a good pet. So the fact that we don't know what some of these dogs' past is shouldn't matter. And in Jasmine's case, we do know where she came from. She has lived with other dogs, she has lived with cats, and she has lived with kids. So we know that she has all the experience necessary to be a wonderful pet, and she certainly is as sweet as she can be here in the shelter. So we are looking for a home for this lovely little girl. And we don't do genetic testing here to see the breeds of dogs. Her face is a little bit boxer looking, and her body, of course, is greyhound looking. But you can do that. You can do that at your vet. You can pay for a test either with a blood test or a sampling from her cheek that will say what purebred genes she shares. So if the test came back boxer greyhound, it would not mean that her mom was a boxer and her dad was a greyhound. It would mean that the same traits that create boxers and greyhounds is in her heritage. So she is a lovely dog waiting for her second home, and as you can see, very sweet, tail wagger. And I didn't mention that she is 3 years old, which you might want to know if you are considering adopting her. So she is mature and probably is always going to be this little bit of fit hound-looking dog. And that is a good thing because she could use a little bit of weight. But thin dogs tend to do very well health-wise as thin people. And it will be good for her to maintain her optimal weight. And if you think that she would make a good match for you or someone that you know, then let us know. We are back with our next guest, Bear. And Bear is some kind of a retriever mix, and I would be inclined to say he's mixed with Rottweiler, but that would more be because he's black and tan than anything else. And as you know, there are plenty of retrievers like Gordon Setters and such that are black and tan. So again, with the DNA testing, the only way to know for sure what Bear's heritage is to have some DNA testing or to know his parents. And Bear is a male who is also 3 years old, just like Jasmine. And he is in the shelter for losing his home. And the reason that he came to us was that he was tied outside in the hot weather, and an animal control officer brought him to the shelter, and his owners did not want to reclaim him. So sometimes what happens when people have a big dog is that they're not sure how to solve routine training problems, or they have a dog that they don't want to leave home alone in the house when they go out and about to work and whatnot. So we have ways of teaching you and explaining to you, if you don't know. Lots of people have plenty of dog experience and they know how to do all of that. But if you don't let it stop you from trying out a dog, because we can help you. So we would talk to you about crate training and getting him used to being home alone. A lot of sporting dogs, gun dogs like retrievers and hounds, are made to be with their person. So they do need a little help to understand you want them to wait at home for you while you're gone. And we can tell you how you can get the message across to them that you're always going to come back, and then they are able to handle it. But people aren't always prepared for that, especially if you take home an 8-week-old puppy who's never been separated from his mother, and then you put him in a cage and you go to work for 8 hours. That's going to be traumatic for a puppy, and he's going to remember it. So the next time you leave, he's going to believe he will never see you again. So there are ways that you can teach a puppy that you're always going to come back, that your absences are short, and that you'll always be reunited, and then you can have a healthy, stable, and relaxed puppy when you're not home. And actually, that whole long story does not apply to Bear. What we know about Bear is that he was chained outside in hot weather and his owners didn't want him back. I have no idea what his skill set is as far as staying home, but I will tell you his skill set with social situations is pretty good. Yeah, you are a good dog.
He seems calm with the other dogs too.
Yes, oh yeah, Randy was saying walking past the other dogs, he did really well. So his retriever look is probably going to foretell what his personality would be, and he seems to act very retriever-y. So if you like that type of dog, which almost everyone does, they make such great family dogs, then come and meet him, see what you think.
Great.
We are back with our next guest. This is Mac, M-A-C Mac, and he is a Parsons Russell Terrier, formerly known as a Jack Russell Terrier, and he is 11 years old. And since little terriers can live 15 or 16 years, then he has plenty of time left to give, and it's a little hard to find somebody willing to take on a dog that they're only going to have for 5 or 6 years.
He was jumping that high.
Yeah, Randy said he was leaping up in the air. He's very fit, so we know that he's gonna he is gonna make somebody a very nice pet. He's used to other dogs. He's used to kids. He has been in a family. He's not eating his pepperoni though. But I think he's going to make someone a great pet. And one of the things that at Frederick County we try to do is not make age a factor in whether or not we offer a dog for adoption. If he is friendly and healthy and social, then by all means he should have a chance at another home no matter his age. But it does mean he may be in the shelter a little longer than other dogs, because naturally people do want to get puppies when they can, and we understand that. But as you saw with Milo, our first guest, the challenge with a puppy is you do need to put in a year to a year and a half of work. Randy can attest to that with his dog Pepper, who, if you've watched the show before, you may have met on screen, is that when you get a young dog, you are making a commitment of a year of hard work to build that relationship. And when you get an older dog, you can forego some of that time and investment in teaching the dog things about the world that he already knows. And this one says, while I can jump into your lap, he's an independent sort and is going to make somebody a really nice companion. I don't think he would mind too much if you had a work schedule that meant you had to be away from home a bit, because he is a confident social guy that can handle it. If you think that Mac would make a good match for you or someone that you know, please let us know. This is Max, and Max is part pug and part Pomeranian. He is a beautiful buff color with a blue muzzle, lovely little dog. He is only 8 to 10 months old, and he came to us as a stray, and his family elected not to get him back, and that sometimes happens, and it's always sad when I hear that, but there are two ways that they can reclaim their dog. One way is to pay for the care while he was in the shelter, and that's to reimburse taxpayers for taking care of him while he was loose. Or, in his case, they could adopt him back, which we would microchip him and neuter him and vaccinate him. But adoption is about $92.50. For a puppy, it's $150. And getting back your dog if they've been in the shelter for some time, it's $10 a day for us to take care of them, which is less costly than a boarding kennel or a veterinarian's office where you leave your dog for vacation. And sometimes people realize that the expense of having a dog, regardless of whether they ended up in the shelter or not, is beyond their financial means. In fact, that's one of the most common reasons that people elect to relinquish a dog to the shelter, is that they just can't afford the expense of a dog. And while in a year's time, the total amount that a healthy dog costs is not significant over the year, it is very significant in one lump sum. So what I mean by that is when you neuter your dog, it can cost $200 or $300. For large dogs, even more. And so it is a financial planning issue to have a dog, to have another mouth to feed, just like you would if you added any family member, if you're going to have your mom come and live with you, or if your family is expecting a child. There's going to be increased expenses, utilities, and food. And while dogs don't add much to your utility bill, they certainly are an expense in their own right for a veterinarian, especially in an emergency. And it is just something that you have to plan for, or you may decide, as Max's family did, that you just can't have a dog at this time. So, because he's 8 to 10 months old, we're going to take 4 applications and see who the best match is. He is a lovely little puppy, and I think he's going to make somebody really happy. And of course, he has had some great experience in his life and is ready to go to a new home. So we're going to be back after a short break with some other adoptable animals here in the shelter. If you have an interest or know anyone who might have an interest in our canine guests so far, then please let us know, or share this episode of Pet Pals, or perhaps go to petfinder.com, find their picture, and pass it around on your social networking sites.
Hey, look at that large group of paddlers over there.
Yeah, that's that Parks and Rec group again. Nice bunch. They're out here all summer. They do trips on the Monocacy and the Potomac.
They sure look like they're having a good time.
That's probably because the staff is so helpful and informative. Anybody can go on those trips.
Well, what am I doing out here with you then?
I don't know. Neither of us can swim, and you keep sticking me with that hook. Hey, what are you doing? You're gonna flip the... Whoa!
Oh, man.
If you're concerned that there is a party taking place where there's underage drinking or drugs being used, or that you've heard that a party is going to take place, there's a tip line that you can call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's 301-600-1318.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're gonna be hanging out a little bit more.
We are back. Thanks for joining us. This is Tootsie, and Tootsie is just one of many kittens we have at the animal shelter.
Says 10 weeks.
You may have heard me say before that between April and October we get over 1,000 kittens. And of course that is happening again this year. We are well on our way. And with the help of 80 foster homes, we bring in kittens that are too young to adopt out, place them in foster care, give them flea treatments and worm treatments and vaccinations, and get them ready for spaying and neutering so that they can be adopted. Right now in the shelter, we probably have about 10 or 11 kittens between the ages of 8 and 14 weeks. And then of course we have our usual several-month-old cats and adult cats. Tootsie is she with litter mates? Does she have litter mates? Just by herself. So it may be that her litter mates have already been chosen and adopted out. But we also have kittens here that have litter mates in case you were thinking of adopting two together. And the options with adopting a kitten are many as far as age and color and temperament. But reasons to adopt a kitten that you might consider are if you have children old enough to help in the care of the cat and you want them to be able to grow up together. If you have an older cat and you want to gently introduce them to a new cat. Sometimes older cats will take to a kitten. There's kind of a kitten license. Cats will put up with the antics of a kitten that they would not accept from another adult cat in their territory. And so there are many reasons that people choose to adopt kittens. The reasons not to choose a kitten is if you're not home very much, or if you have a lot of valuable knickknacks on shelves, or if you want to have a more calm and mellow companion to start with, then you're going to want to go with an adult cat that has that personality. But kittens sure are a lot of fun. This one's very beautiful. And I think that she's going to make somebody a great pet. As you can see, it didn't take Randy long to convince her to stick around. But kittens are very active and they need to do lots of stuff. So be prepared if you want a little one. Our next guest is a beautiful cat named Tilly. Tilly is between 5 and 7 years old and came to us as a stray. But we know Tilly was someone's pet because Tilly's already declawed and neutered. So that means that someone loved this cat. And it always will surprise me, and I know I say it all the time, that we have so many cats come to the shelter that are lovely, well-trained, litter box trained, have good manners, like people, don't mind being brushed and having medical treatments, and no one comes to look for them. So in this case, we made up the name Tilly. If you know someone who is missing a long-haired brown tabby, Or if you are interested in adopting a cat like Tilly, then please let us know, because it's possible that people don't realize that lost cats come to the animal shelter. But since we are the only animal shelter in Frederick, it would not be hard to find that out, making an effort to look for your cat. The other thing that sometimes happens is that cats may have more than one address if they're loosely owned. And what I mean by that is a kitten shows up at someone's house and they feed her, and then someone else down the street lets the cat sleep at their house. And then when the cat is missing for 3 or 4 days, both of those families assume he or she is at the other house. So I do recommend, when you are feeding and caring for a cat, to put a collar on them that has your phone number, because that is one good way to find out if someone else also thinks that they own the same cat. So Tilly is available for adoption, and as you can see, quite lovely. If you are interested, please let us know, because we would love to find Tilly a new family, a family that will take that responsibility to keep their cat inside and keep track of their cat. Our next guest is Sharona. And Sharona is 1 or 2 years old. She came to us as a lost cat, and her family did not come looking for her. So we gave her the name Sharona, and she is petite and very gentle. We know that she was someone's pet just by observing her behavior. She's really affectionate, doesn't mind being picked up, approaches people readily. So it also could be that it wasn't that people didn't come looking for her as much as whoever was caring for her didn't take on full ownership. I mean, sometimes people just raise and feed cats in the neighborhood because they're good-hearted and they don't want them to go without shelter and food. But if the cat disappears, they don't really feel like it was their cat. So she definitely needs to find someone who does consider her to be their cat. And coming here to the shelter means that we can help her do that. So if you think that Sharona would make a good match for you or someone that you know, then come on in and meet her. She has really pretty markings and really soft fur. You really should snuggle with her before you say no, because she's a cutie. And also we have many, many cats in the shelter this time of year. We can hold over 100. We are in the summer often facing being up to that limit. So when you come to the shelter, you can be a little overwhelmed and say, oh my gosh, how do I choose? There's so many. And what we recommend is that you sit with a few and see what you think. We also have a color coding system where we have name tags that tell you something about their personality, whether you want a lap cat or a more independent, playful cat. So ask us about that when you come, and we will put you in the right direction.
Get that face around here.
Psst, psst, psst. Kitty, kitty. Our next guest is Rita, and Rita also came to us as a lost cat, and we weren't able to find her owner either. She, we estimate, is about a year old, almost a year old, and she is a very common, popular color of cat. She's what's called tortoiseshell, and it's similar to calico, but a lot of people like it and seek it out. They want tortoiseshell cats, so hopefully Rita won't have to wait very long to find a home. And one of the most beautiful things about tortoiseshell cats is they usually have what's called a split face. Down the center of their face is a color change that is markedly different on one side than the other. And that people find attractive, and it bodes well for her being adopted, that she is so pretty. But more importantly, she's so sweet. She's a very petite little cat, very affectionate, and obviously was cared for by people, or she wouldn't be friendly and outgoing in this way. And as we have said many times, it is very hard for shelters to find the people who previously cared for a cat, and for many, many reasons. But that means that we don't know her experiences. We don't know if she's been around dogs. We don't know how she feels about other cats. But chances are, if we found her as a stray, that she was exposed to the outside and has seen all of those things. So she has lots of experience to offer anyone. And what we can tell about her is how sweet she is. She likes people and approaches people willingly and is going to make somebody a really great pet, not to mention a very pretty one. So if you have seen any of the pets today that you think might make a good match for you or someone that you know, please let us know or pass their pictures around. You can go to the link at the bottom of your screen and share this episode of Pet Finder with anyone you will share it with using your social networking sites, or just email or just call someone and let them know that they can go online and see what adoptable pets are at Frederick County Animal Control this week. We try to update you every week, but if you have seen a pet in the past, don't believe that they must have been adopted, because pets that you've seen before on the TV show, Coco is still here, Jade is still here. Jade was a lab, an older lab. Coco is an older Mastiff mix that laid on this floor. Yes, and Mama Cat. We have a black and white cat that's been here, for a couple months, and is still in need of a home. And she's a delightful, sweet cat, just like Rita. So please help us out by getting the word out. And if you are not in the market for a pet right now, we completely understand. You can donate some old towels, some indestructible dog toys. You can offer to put flyers up for us, or just make sure to mention us so people know when they lose their pet that they should definitely call here first, the Frederick County Animal Control Center on Rosemont Avenue, 301-600-1546. Thanks for joining us.